Hey everyone, today I'm in Thurber, Texas, and this is pretty interesting. It's a ghost town with a lot of history, yet there's two really good places to eat here. Let me show you around a little bit here of some of what's left. So this right over here is I-20, and if you are traveling down that, you can't miss this gigantic smokestack here. The very top of it, it says 1908. And then there's a little bit of history down there, the evolution of an oil company. There's also a historic sign right here. So this says Thurber, Texas, the most important mine site in Texas for 30 years. Coal here, probably known to Indians, was discovered in 1886 by W.W. Johnson, who with his brother Harvey sold out to Texas and Pacific Coal Company in 1888. T&P Coal Company provided fuel for the Texas and Pacific Railroad, but was independently owned. The town was named for H.K. Thurber, friend of T&P Coal Company founders. Most dynamic firm member was Robert D. Hunter, 1833 to 1902, developer of 7 of 15 mines that were here. Next to president was E.L. Marston, Hunter's son-in-law, who left mining largely to William K. Gordon, 1862 to 1949, and an engineer who brought daily output to 3,000 tons. Then in 1917, Gordon, backed by the management of Coal Company, was primarily responsible for discovery of Ranger Oil Field, which is 20 miles west. Adoption of oil-burning railroad locomotives cut demand for coal. The last mine here closed in 1921, and the 10,000 or more inhabitants of Thurber began to move away. The coal firm changed its name to Texas Pacific and Coal Company and was sold in 1963 to Joseph E. Seagram and Sons for $277 million. Renamed Texas Pacific Oil Company, it is now one of the largest independent domestic energy suppliers. Much coal, by estimate 127,000 tons, remains underground, and this sign was placed here in 1969. Now there used to be more smokestacks here. I've heard as many as like 3, could be more. There's not a whole lot here now. Chain link fence and cactus. Probably has its fair share of snakes out here too, which hopefully we won't run into those. This is a large smokestack, and it's in really good shape. They've got some wire over that, I guess, to keep maybe the pigeons out. But kind of a similar deal. This is the site of the first commercial coal produced in Texas by the Texas and Pacific Coal Company, mined in 1888. This company was the forerunner of the Texas Pacific Coal Oil Company, now one of the nation's substantial independent producers of oil and gas. The transition from coal mining to petroleum production was accelerated by the company's discovery in 1917 of oil and gas in the Great Ranger Field, 16 miles to the west. It was a natural evolution of American enterprise dedicated to developing natural resources to supply the nation's growing need for abundant energy. Beneath this ground lies part of the 127,000 tons of coal still owned by the Texas Pacific, which may be mined in the future. This is Texas' only known deposit of bitumous coal and occurs from the surface to a depth of 450 feet. This was erected March of 1960. As I pan up, you can get the sheer magnitude of the size of this thing. And then there's some sort of pulley up there. A little side chute off of that. It's amazing how good a shape it's in. Keep an eye out for snakes. Definitely has a lot of those little burrs right there to get stuck in the shoes, so I'm sure I'm gonna have some of those. We'll try to avoid them, but it's so thick, I don't think there's any way I can. Look right here. You can actually see little footprints of some kind of critter going up in there. But I don't know. It looks like you can see little dust, ashes or something from this old smokestack. Maybe from the coal, who knows? The ground is kind of black through here as well. You can see where it's kind of poured out right there. Back over here, there's some kind of old structure there as well. We're on the back side of it. You can see a door that's kind of caved in, and the whole roof of that thing is just gone. Zoom in here a little bit for you guys. You guys may see or hear gunshots in the background. This is the last day in August, so dove season is fast approaching. That is the smokehouse restaurant over there. It's supposed to be really good. Right on the back of this is a power switch. Pretty interesting. Cables go underneath the ground. Don't know what that powers really. There is a light that's over that way to light up the smokestack. I don't know how often they use it, but maybe it goes to that. There's a brick missing in the corner, but otherwise all the bricks are here. Piece of wood that's there. I don't know if there was some sort of sign. See a rod that's sticking out there. And if you look way up towards the top, there is a ladder. Look at that ladder hanging over the side right there. Pretty interesting. So I'm not exactly sure what this sidewalk originally went to. The sidewalk over there went to that smokestack, but I guess there was a building here. There's a couple little side stretches of sidewalk where it goes back into something that used to be here. And then this little stretch where there's not really any grass growing has a rock in it. There's another little patch right here that doesn't have anything growing on it. And then the very end of this, there's another one of those patches where it goes into something and it's just cement. This looks like it keeps going up into that brush somewhere. It's too thick to crawl back up in there, but it leads somewhere, maybe that building next door. Went down this dirt road and passed over these little bricks that are here. One of the things that this town was famous for is actually bricks, Thurber bricks. You can see these all over. They're in Texas, and you can see them up into Oklahoma, way out west into Arizona. They're pretty famous. So I was looking to see if I could find any that had the markings on it to show you guys, but I'm not seeing any so far. Doesn't mean that we won't. But you can see this light right here that can light up that smokestack. So there's this sort of random power pole here. I don't think any power is going to it now. It has some plug-ins there. There would have been things all through here. I see another little pole that's over that way. Let's walk through here, see if we can see any foundations to things and not see any snakes. Here we have some bricks. Part of a foundation of something here goes on across over there. Base of something keeps running along through here. I assume it's the same thing. As long as there's no snakes in this, I'm happy. A lot of grasshoppers so far. Well, this is obviously the foundation to something. You can see the bricks here. Not much is growing. It's hard to say if you'll sink in this walking on it, but let's try. The reason why I say that is, look at this right there, where it's fallen in. So it obviously had some sort of basement to it. It's hard to say. I will say it's pretty squishy walking on that. You can see where it's fallen in right there as well. But something was here at one time. See another little power pole there. Yeah, here you go. You can see the bricks here where it says Thurber right there. Another really good one. It says Thurber, and then you see that triangle right there. A lot of little bricks. That's what you'll see all over the place. There's a highway paved with these bricks. Look at this. Caving in right there. I'm trying to just walk along the edge, especially after I walked through there and it was pretty mushy. Here's part of another little cement foundation thing. Looks to me like it could be an entrance into a store. Not sure what was here. Grass isn't really growing here either. Not too much. You can see where there was some sort of pipe or something there, and this is cement that's underneath. Let's see here. We have some bricks right there and a cement foundation, and then we have this tile, which is pretty interesting. From what I understand, this tile belonged inside of a barber shop. Saw a lizard scoot by, couldn't catch him on camera though. A lot of little pieces of tile here, so we're standing inside of what probably would have been the barber shop, but don't take that for fact. It could have been something else. Regardless, we are standing inside of some sort of old structure, and it's pretty neat that these little pieces of tile have remained here all this many years later. It has an interesting design around the edges here. Good craftsmanship to last out here all these years, all this heat. You can see a lot of different things. This is a sort of a brick sidewalk that's out the front of this. This little pole structure is really rusting there. This brick sidewalk has what appears to be a little planter area. A lot of bricks. You can see it going around this tree right there. Some loose bricks right there. And then a bunch of loose bricks right here. Someone has constructed that into a fire pit, is what that looks like to me. I don't know if that was some sort of chimney that was there or not. A lot of bricks that have caved in right here, part of the structure. This certainly had some sort of dip down in it, maybe a little cellar, basement, something like that. You can see some of the brick structure through here. And these definitely have writing on them. A lot of them here. A lot of Thurber bricks. I don't know if people been kind of prying those out or what, but it'd be nice if they just kind of leave them be. Those are steps up into whatever that structure was. And then you can see a parking lot right here. And kind of a little rock structure around the trees, going around the border of the parking lot, even goes around that tree right over there. Off in the distance across the interstate is a museum, and it's a newer museum. Tells you a little bit of the history about some of the mining here. And then there's kind of an old sign right there. Smokestack Friday Catfish Special, $9.95. A smaller fish plate, $7.95. That Smokestack restaurant. These are some of the last remaining buildings of this sort of main area. There's obviously some sort of structure right there. Even around this tree, you can see remnants of bricks right around that. And this had some sort of sidewalk around it. You can see the foundation here. It's interesting to see what is remaining. This could have been some sort of garage type structure. Looking at this, looks like you could pull all the way through though. So maybe a service station, not sure. Something where you could enter both sides. I won't go too close to that restaurant. They've got some music playing and I don't want to get dinged, but it kind of gives you an idea of what these buildings sort of looked like. The old glass on them. And you can see the sidewalks on the side of the building. Some sort of garage there. They've got those windows boarded up and painted, but they really look like they're in good shape. Popular little stop because of this restaurant. There's also a restaurant on the other side of the highway up on a hill. You can see the sidewalk right there. Yeah, it says for rent. I guess not for sale, but for rent. If you're interested in starting a business here. A lot of traffic. You can see this sidewalk was leading into some structure that was there. There's nothing left but the back wall. Roof's gone, everything's gone. Might be something inside that fence, but it's all part of that smokehouse restaurant there. This structure is pretty interesting. It's got several layers of roof tiles up there, shingles, and they are wearing away fast. See the old windows, you can tell it's the old glass because it's kind of got that wavy look. This says the Thurber Fire Station. Pretty neat. Thought we would go over here and look at that other building that was next to this. I don't know if there's anything in there or not. Oh, they got some old stuff in there, old Jeep. Different things in there. Check out that old fire hydrant that's right there next to this fire station. Certainly old style. Not sure what this was. You can see the gate entrance here. But that has a roof that has completely collapsed in on itself. And then you can see around this window here that was boarded up at one time. It's cracking right above it, so won't be too much longer and it's gonna fall on that corner. Still interesting that it's standing though. Trying to film and look for snakes too. So far only grasshoppers, and I hope it stays that way. This middle window still has panes in it, and then this one has 3 of the 4 panes. There's one that's kind of busted. The other's fallen all the way through. But it is interesting. I don't know if it is part of that smokestack right there or not. Does make sense to have a fire hydrant right there like that. Right in front of this structure, I noticed the grass isn't growing well here, and there's obviously gravel right here, but you can see more bricks here and what looks to be maybe sort of a sidewalk. It's got some bricks in it. It's hard to say what all was here. There's a couple old houses up through here, not sure on their age. They're in good shape and well maintained. So look at this pipe sticking up out of the ground. Gotta wonder if it's some sort of natural gas line, I guess. Goes back behind that building, that old fire station. So that sign is kind of fallen down a little bit, but it says, "Welcome, visit the original church, miners, something, rail car, and bandstand, Thurber Historic Park." And then the New York Hill restaurant is to the right up this hill. So that is the new museum right there, and they do have some artifacts in there. And you're probably hearing some gunshots. What that is they have a clay pigeon shooting area over there, so people are getting ready for dove season, which sounds like fun. But this is the bandstand, and from what I understand, it's not the original. I guess it used to sit about 10 feet up in the air, and I don't know if they've chopped that down and lowered it, or if it's a deal of they recreated it, but they didn't want it so dangerous. I do know that. This is got a little bench seating area right here, and then just a little arena for some reason. It even has some lights right there. Here's some pellets down there. And then there's this other arena. I don't know what those are, what that's for. If anyone knows, definitely leave a comment below. Almost looks like big old horseshoe arenas or something. And this looks like some sort of flower bed type thing. There's no sign designating what it is. I don't think there's anything on the other side of this. This is just a tile. So I don't know what that is. The piece of the sign that fell down is right there. This is just a triangle that says BT&T. So here's the bandstand. They've used all these bricks that are from here around it. They've got some Christmas lights on it. You can see a few planks that are starting to come up there. A couple metal chairs. You can see the original ceiling here and where some of it has came off. I think this is maybe original, they just lowered it. And then you got to put that there because there's a lot of pigeons around. So I don't know. A lot of spider webs I'm walking through. Don't see anything on that. It might have designated at one point. There's where you enter that. See if this sign says anything. Ah, that one over there says it. These are John and Johnny Goodwin bocce ball courts. That's kind of different. So I guess they actually have some tournaments here, but here is the rail car that they used, and man, is it in sad shape. This thing is really falling apart. They've got some of the old track there, and you can see it is severely deteriorating right there. It's just so old. Look at the steps up in this thing. I don't know if that's safe, but let's try it. If it's gonna hold my weight, I guess it'll hold everyone else's. And I can feel it bouncing. So there are a lot of wasp nests. Interesting to see the floor like that. There's a pillow in here. A little bit of graffiti. A lot of wasps. They're buzzing all around me. That is one huge garden spider right there that's in the window of that. This looks like they may have had heat in this thing, like maybe an old wood burning stove sat right there. You can see some pieces of that inside. Oh, that's part of the old door is what that is. That yellow thing is part of the old door. Pretty neat. You can go inside here, even though it is a little rickety. It's this staircase that's bad. You can see the yellow door is intact on this side. But yeah, I wouldn't want to stand too long on this staircase, and don't use that railing. That railing is shot. I wouldn't lean on that or depend on that. Pretty neat to see this old rail car that they used to transport the miners back and forth. On a little bit better shape on this side, but not by much. And then someone lost their sock. Pretty sure it's not a miner. Maybe it's one of the bocce ball players. Let's go over and look at these. So right up there is where the restaurant is, and it's on the hill. And of course it says New York Hill right here. So this is the old house that's still standing. And there is a historic sign that's on the door. We'll go up and read it. See if we can peek in any of the windows. So far I'm not seeing anything. They're covered, but that one right there looks like we could. Got kind of a cement walkway here. You can see more of those bricks holding up the porch, part of the foundation there. So this is the Thurber's Miner House. This house costs $200 to $300 to build and rented for $6 a month. It is of box type construction with rooms standard 14 by 14 feet. Houses were usually painted red, green, or yellow. Typical of this house was a bracket flue chimney where the brickwork set on 7-foot tall 2x10 wood planks. Many homes had several boarders who slept in one room and paid $18 a month for bed, board, and laundry. When Thurber was torn down, this house was sold for $50. And the buyer had to move it. Many of these old houses are still seen throughout the countryside in use as barns or storage. So pretty neat that this is still standing. I can feel some of these planks giving out, and they've got plywood over part of it. Let's see here. Not really seeing much in there. Kind of just a storage area, looks like. Yeah, this porch is really starting to give, and you can see where the planks are coming up on here. And the railing, once again, don't depend on that railing if you decide to come out here. In fact, you can see how shaky that thing is with just a pinky shaking it. So I don't know if there was some sort of sign here. This is interesting to see this kind of with a border around this light. I guess just maybe to keep people from mowing over it. The lights are busted. But this is the old St. Barber's Church. St. Barber's Catholic Church. Most of Thurber's immigrant population, representing 18 nationalities, were Catholic. Missionary priests ministered to the town until 1892, when the coal company erected a Catholic church at the bottom of the graveyard hill. Originally named St. Thurber, it was renamed St. Barber's to honor the patroness saint of the miners. A church school hunter academy operated from 1894 to 1923. The church building was moved 2 miles north to Mingus when Thurber was dismantled in the 1930s, and was returned to Thurber in 1993 by the Thurber preservationists. And this sign was erected in 1995. Pretty cool windows right there. I'm not sure if this was the original location of where the church was or not. Pretty sure this thing is not going to be unlocked, but let's try. Nope. Pretty neat to see it standing here though. You can see the staircase going up here to probably a second balcony where that stained glass window is. Old propane tank there. Well, it's hard for me to see, but I see a file cabinet. I think some church pews over there. You guys will have to let me know if you see anything else. Oh yeah, there's definitely church pews right there. I can almost see in here. I see an organ over there. Would have been a doorway into the church, at least the back side of it. And church could use some paint, but it's neat that it's standing. There's some boards that have been falling off, I see. Looks like some of the roof as well. Even looks like another door would have been right there. There's a lot of wasps around here. Big old nest all around this thing. Little ones, big ones. There's a side door here. Don't know if that originally would have been there. Look at this wasp nest up there. Bunch of them. Oh my Lord. All down through there. This church actually has air conditioning, so I guess they still use it. Got a plug in right there. We're getting a view of the other side. It looks like there's an organ on both sides. I mean, tons and tons of wasp nests with eggs in them, all kinds of stuff, little larvae. So this historical sign is notating the site of Hotel Knox and the Thurber mining office. It states that the Texas and Pacific Coal Company built the first-class Hotel Knox about 1895. In addition to serving out-of-town guests, it was a social center in Thurber and home to many of the town's white-collar workers. These workers included store clerks, staff of the adjacent mining office where General Manager William Knox Gordon maintained his headquarters. The Hotel Knox burned in 1907 and was replaced by the Plummer Hotel. Although the town dismantled in the 1930s, ruins of the mining office were still visible decades later. You can see a lot of different things back in there. There's a barbed wire fence here, but there's a little bit of brick foundation type stuff and cement, some pipes, all sorts of things back up in through there. Another interesting thing kind of standing here. So that's going to do it for today's adventure. I appreciate you watching, and if you want to see more of this old town, the next episode is going to have a tour through the cemetery, which is pretty unique. There's a lot of interesting things to see in there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.